Ladies and gentlemen, the situation is dire. Things are becoming very complicated in Ukraine. Every single day, things go from bad to worse. Vladimir Putin's Russia has just seriously bombarded two major strategic cities in Ukraine. Zelensky is overwhelmed. Even the United States of America, which initiated negotiations, has just drawn a conclusion, has just learned a lesson. Russia is aiming for something else within the framework of this armed conflict. The Russian special military operation, otan, in Ukraine, has another objective that has certainly never been revealed. The strikes that these strategic cities have experienced in the last 24 hours, after the very dangerous strike that the city of Sumy experienced. These two other cities that are added, Dnipro, the city of Dnipro and the city of Kherson, it gives pause for thought. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is holding its breath. The Americans no longer know which way to turn. They themselves have understood that Russia has an objective in Ukraine that even negotiations cannot halt. That is to say, even if they go to negotiations, they are already in negotiations, even if an agreement is reached. But what Russia is aiming for, Russia will not stop. Perhaps the weapons can be silenced, but what Russia wants, it will have to obtain, come what may, at any cost. Russia is making a spectacular advance through the spectacular method it is using on the battlefield. This means that even the Europeans no longer understand what is happening. Ladies and gentlemen, before continuing to watch this video conference, I ask you to share it as much as possible. Give it a lot of likes. Give it a lot of likes. In the strategic city of Dnipro, I cannot post all the images because some images are unbearable and the platform cannot handle them. I am only posting a few images that are less severe. So, the damage was so enormous in the city of Dnipro. We learn that there have been send-offs to eternal rest. Many have been sent to eternal rest. Yes. And these strikes, the consequences of these strikes in Dnipro, mobilized 137 rescuers. 137 rescuers to come and help the people. It's mixed with civilians, etc. Now we are in a dance of all's fair in war. The consequences of these strikes have mobilized 37 fire engines. 37 fire engines. And on this morning, on this evening of April 17th, 2025, that's when the firefighters were able to finish their work. They were able to control the various fires because the missiles are launched. When they fall, in addition to destroying buildings, it's the flames. There are flames. So, the city of Dnipro was hit. In the last 24 hours, this unprecedented Russian attack has sent 3 civilians to eternal rest. There are 28 injured, including 4 children. Residential buildings, university residences, and premises of a food company were damaged. It's not just that. The toll is very serious. And what must be said is that on the morning of April 16th, the Russians did not rest. They also attacked the strategic city of Kherson. They carried out a double strike on Kherson, which is to say, it's an unusual method. It's a method specific to Russia. They proceed with the strike. It's okay. At the moment when people are trying to, manage the situation, At the moment when the strike is made, and the radars, the anti-air defense systems, their attention is now diverted to the strike. The real strike arrives. So it's the method of the double strike. The first one comes to deceive vigilance. And then afterwards, you don't even know when the second strike will come. But when it comes, it comes. First, the first one hits its target. The second one also hits the target. So the rescuers were on site to deal with the consequences of the first strike. The Russians sent the second one again. Yes. And it obviously targeted the rescuers who were there. That is to say, the methods now used in the Russo-Ukrainian conflict will serve as a precedent in international humanitarian law. Since here, we see a paradigm shift within the framework of international humanitarian law, the rules that must be respected during, in times of armed conflict. These rules have been violated by Ukraine as well. Ukraine itself, encouraged by the United States of America, encouraged by the West, which claims to respect the rules of international law. And Russia is also just following this path. So, at the moment we are speaking, it is a festival of violations of international law, in terms of the law of war. And over time, Ukraine and Russia are creating new rules. And this is what is happening, unfortunately. So, Russia is determined. So on the morning of April 16th, there was this double strike. And what else needs to be said? This attack on the Dnipro, which is of great magnitude, and has caused a lot of damage, sounds like a warning to Zelensky and the small European world that is active in pursuing the war. So, the message is very clear. The message is clear. Vladimir Putin sends a clear message to the small European world and to Zelensky to say that you who want to continue the conflict, we are ready too. If what the commander of NATO's joint forces told you, you don't want to believe in that, you don't want to understand, we are ready too. Russia is ready. So it's a strong message that Russia is sending. And it's a strong message to Ukraine. But also, and above all, it's a very strong message sent to Poland and the Baltic countries, who, quite naturally, are preparing to confront Russia. That's why yesterday, Russia threatened Poland and the Baltic countries. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the headline of international news. Thank you for sharing it as much as possible. I'll be back shortly with more news. This was the voice of your one and only samurai.